Yeah, let's just run through this as quickly as we can because we do want to get to the fans forum chat box. Uh, let's talk about Team USA. They're still unbeaten in the Gold Cup. We went through weeks and weeks of this mounting criticism of Coach Mauricio Pochettino about what he did, construction of the roster, giving all the veteran players the summer off to try to get totally healthy. And they're unbeaten. They're 4-0. They posted in the knockout win. They posted a victory over Costa Rica. They won on a shootout, 4-3 on penalty shots. An unknown from Germany, his name is Damian Downs. He's the son of an Air Force pilot, grew up in Germany, wanted to play football, real football, not football, soccer. He scored the game-winning goal. And the goalkeeper, Matt Freese, who's third on the depth chart, made 3 saves in the penalty kick shootout to get Team USA another victory. They move now into the semifinals. They're going to play Guatemala. Guatemala shocked Canada in their knockout game. So they're going to play this next round, USA versus Guatemala. Nobody's paying any attention to Mexico. Holy cow, they should. Mexico, they're 4-0. They picked up another win, beat Saudi Arabia. The Mexican side, for Javier Aguirre, the coach, is playing really well together. They're going to play Honduras in the knockout round in the other semifinal. So that's a fascinating story. Let's talk about SDFC. On the road, without some of their key players, injuries, guys playing in the Club World Cup, no problem. How about SDFC? They go to Vancouver and win. Then they go to Dallas and win. CJ Dos Santos with the 3 big saves. SDFC is 12-3-5. An expansion team is 12-3-5. Send their mail to the post office in care of first place MLS. I mean, this is just a fascinating story. Meanwhile, the Club World Cup, just the criticism just continues to blow up on a week-by-week basis. Jurgen Klopp, legendary coach, English Premier League, explodes at FIFA, saying this is the worst idea soccer leadership has ever had. He says it's pointless. I don't care how much money you're taking in. What you're doing to these players, putting them at risk. And Jurgen Klopp has indicated, he's the legendary coach from Liverpool. He says there will be catastrophic injuries next season in all these global leagues because you have given these players absolutely no time off. And then he chastised FIFA saying, you don't care about the star players in this global sport. Ooh, that really stung. NASCAR. You ever see a pileup accident in the fog on a freeway? Did you see the Atlanta 400 at all this week? No. NASCAR, Atlanta 400. In the second stage of the Atlanta 400, 2 cars got sideways. 20 seconds later, 17 cars were damaged. It was a chain reaction like you wouldn't believe because there's no place on the track for these guys to go. 2 guys up front got sideways, collided, and next thing you know, everybody behind them is sideways, colliding, hitting the wall, into the infield, hitting other cars. 7 of the top leaders got wiped out in one crash in the Atlanta 400. And Formula One, they ran the Austrian Grand Prix. It was really interesting. Team McLaren made a public statement last Friday. Boys, go race each other. In essence, boys, have at it. They were making reference to their 2 drivers, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. They had been involved in a crash the week prior. So they're in the Austrian Grand Prix, and Landon Norris kind of shoves aside his teammate to move him over so he could pass him. And Landon Norris went on to win, despite that he might have put Piastri at risk of crashing into one of the barriers. End result, Lando Norris won, Piastri finished second. By the way, Max Verstappen, first lap, get out of my way. The rookie, Kimi Antonelli's not getting out of his way, clipped him. Verstappen and Antonelli both crashed, both wiped themselves out on the 3rd turn of the first lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. Everything with Team Red Bull is a drama. Everything is a soap opera. One day Verstappen loves it. The next day he hates everybody. John, just absolutely fascinating. So Go ahead, talk soccer if you want. Go ahead, talk about the good old boys and all the anger in F1.
Okay, well, I watched a lot of soccer over the weekend, and the USA match against Costa Rica was a fun watch. And they came back and won that game, and like you said, in penalty kicks. But that goalkeeper freeze was something. I mean, he was out there, kind of had some swagger after he blocked the third one. I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch, and it was interesting that Berhalter's son was on that team, and he actually missed one of the penalty kicks. But it was, and then you see Berhalter in the stands with the family watching along. I'm sure it was probably a little bit awkward. And real quick, the San Diego FC story has got to be one of the best sports stories in California, in the Western United States. I mean, they had another great comeback game. I watched that. That was terrific. And then the interesting thing about Club World Cup, I was watching Paris Saint-Germain against, I think it was Inter Miami, because Messi was on that team. And when Messi had the ball, you could tell he was world class the way he was moving it. But for the most part, this really gave you a good vision of why MLS is like a second or third tier down, because the ball control was so tightly managed by the Paris Saint-Germain players. And it seemed that the ball was always on one half of the field the whole time. So we got a pretty good view of the differences between the different soccer leagues.
Tell you what, everybody was shocked. It was lopsided. It was 4-0 early. A lot of people feared it was going to end up being 8-0, which would have been a terrible emotional blow for all things MLS, to have their best player, their best team get destroyed by Paris Saint-Germain, who, of course, won the Champions League there in Europe. Okay, those are topics on the table.